In today's competitive business environment, it is imperative to ensure your employees are performing at their best, and Spark can help you get there. StyleBox, welcome. We are excited to share with you how we can help unlock your organization's full potential through a customized performance management solution. Spark Consulting was founded by myself, Kenny Thompson, Lindsay Robbins, and Victoria Kelsey Ferrix. I'm going to introduce myself and then hand it over to Lindsay Robbins to provide a quick introduction as well. I am Kenny Thompson. I have been in consulting for 4 years with experience in employee engagement and data analytics. I have a passion for helping people and I'm excited to assist StyleBox. And with me, I have my teammate, Lindsay Robbins.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, I'm Lindsay Robbins, and I have over 15 years of experience in the people and human resources field. I really have a passion for helping people in our organizations. And so my experience has been namely in employee experience and how we really make workplaces where people thrive, and performance management and selection. So with that, Victoria, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. My name is Victoria Kelsey Ferrix. My specialty is in starting and running creative consulting companies that help global corporations handle their employee experience and customer experience data, making recommendations and change management for the company. The good news here is that we get StyleBox. StyleBox is a client that we are sure we can help because we've identified the opportunities that exist within StyleBox for improvement in their customer service interactions. Customers are not reporting satisfaction at the moment with StyleBox, but we do have a solution for that, and that is helping with the design and development of a performance management system that will address customer concerns. Our performance management systems empower companies and teams to perform their best for their customers. The robust nature of the management system that we would design for you would help you to understand the underlying data points behind the behaviors and experiences of your customers. We bring the expertise. We've worked with many global and international companies. As you can see, some of these are examples of companies we have worked with and helped enact change in their corporations. And we've also added on the slide some recommendations that we received from some of our partners in the industry. A little bit about the approach that we have. When we talk about Spark Consulting and what our expertise means for people and performance management systems, we want to talk and share our technical approach and what that would look like for you at StyleBox. So we do a 3-phase performance management development system. We developed this 3-phased approach to ensure that the system we create is aligned with StyleBox's goals and objectives, and also will provide employees with clear expectations and feedback on their own performance. And by taking this systemic approach with our development, we improve employee performance, we increase productivity, and we drive business success. So in phase 1, that first phase will involve analyzing work performed by employees in order to identify their key job tasks, skills, and competencies that they need to be successful in their job. The goal is to establish clear understanding of what is expected for the employees, and then we will build upon that in phase 2 by the development of the performance management tool. We will use the processes and tools that we've identified at Spark, including finalizing performance metrics that will be used to evaluate employees. And then the third phase, we will implement our performance management system. During this, we will train all employees and managers on the new system, communicate the expectations that will be in place, the processes that will be utilized, and we will provide ongoing support and feedback for the StyleBox team. This performance management system will ensure that it's being used effectively, and it is making adjustments as you go on for a process of continuous improvement. Now we're going to dive in a little deeper into each phase of the analysis. So phase one, work analysis, will begin with, we have some methodologies behind what we do in the beginning. We want to make sure that we understand what employees are doing as they're interacting with customers. And that means that we need to directly observe them in the field. We identify what tasks they're doing, what processes are being used, and we're making sure that we are not missing any small task that's being performed. We'll back that up with focus groups and interviews to ensure there is no gap in between what we've observed and what the employees are telling us that they are doing. This helps us analyze operational performance that's being done as they're in the job. Then we will deploy employee and customer surveys. The employees will tell us again more about what their tasks, knowledges, and skills need to be in this process. And then customers will identify where their delighters and where their pain points may exist within the process. And lastly, we will utilize all existing operational market data, including customer satisfaction ratings, NPS, which is Net Promoter Score, how often a customer is likely to recommend you to a friend or family. We will analyze the customer effort scores, and all sales data will be considered. And this will allow further identification of processes and techniques that you can use to be successful in this field. On the next portion of this, we will be asking for your assistance, Stylebox. So in order to get the best information and the best data in front of you, we will need your assistance, and we're going to ask for some of your time. 8 customer service agents, we would ask them to be involved in direct observation 4 days, observation of 2 agents or leads per day, followed by the focus groups. We'd like participation by 24 customer service agents and 8 team leads in 4 one-hour focus group sessions. The interviews would be 2 to 6 customer service agents or leads for 2 to 6 30-minute interviews. The employee survey should be deployed to all customer service agents and leads, and it should take no more than 10 to 15 minutes for them to complete that. Customers who opt in for surveys will be given a 1 to 3 minute customer service survey where they can provide their input. And then a review of operational and market data would occur during an approximately 1 hour transfer meeting between Stylebox stakeholders and Spark Consulting. So we anticipate that with Stylebox's cooperation, this first stage will take approximately 3 months. Detailed timeline is on the screen. You can see how we've broken that down for you. This will give us adequate time to analyze and explore existing customer and employee data, create and conduct the focus groups and interviews. We could schedule and complete the direct observations and conduct all of the employee and customer surveys in this phase. Now I'm going to pass the phase 2 description over to Lindsay for more detail on that performance management tool.
Perfect. Thank you again, Victoria. So I'm going to talk about the phase 2, which is the development of the performance management tool. So in other words, this tool is really how we measure our customer service agents' performance. And so it provides us and you all a structured approach to align individual and team goals with your overall business objectives. We also use this performance management tool to monitor performance metrics, provide continuous feedback, and facilitate employee development, which we all know is incredibly important as part of the employee experience at StyleBox. So I'll get more into some of that. We'll get more into some of that in phase 3. But for now, as we think about how we align and consider how it aligns to overall business objectives, it's really important to consider, and we've taken this into account, how it aligns to StyleBox's culture and values. And so we know that your values are integrity, innovation, and trust. And so we want to, again, ensure that as we develop this performance management tool and the overall system, that it does align with integrity, innovation, and trust. And then the other piece of this is ensuring that the system and the tool that I'm talking about here is really thorough, practical, specific, that it's reliable and valid, that it's fair and acceptable and inclusive, and then also that it contains discriminability. We want to ensure that, again, as I say some of those words, to get more into those, what I really mean is that it is easy to use. It's easy to use for both the people that are doing the rating and then also the people that are being rated. And so that's an incredibly important piece of this. And then also that the system allows the team to look at progress, identify improvement, and then foster a truly continuous culture of continuous feedback and support. Before I share an example of what that tool could actually look like, I think it's important that we discuss the types of measures that will be used. And so the actual performance outcomes will be based on the work analysis that Victoria just discussed. But given what we already know about customer service-based roles, we expect to recommend both objective measures, which are results-based, and subjective measures, which are behaviors-based. Objective, again, or results-based measures focus on tangibly recorded output. So the things that we can measure essentially through numbers. And so potential objective measures that we could look at for StyleBox are, as you see here, average resolution time, average response time, first contact resolution, and then interactions per ticket. And then as we think about subjective measures or behaviors-based, those really rely on human judgment. And so potential subjective measures include peer ratings, self-ratings, supervisor ratings, and then customers served ratings. Part of this is creating a graphic rating scale that each of these groups can use to identify the ratings through. And so I'll show you that in just a second, but I want to point out that those scales are really created, again, through the work analysis, where we determine the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are required as part of a customer service agent's role. And then also, of course, back to innovation, integrity, and trust, so StyleBox's culture and values. So this is an example of a supervisor graphic rating scale. Essentially what would happen is we would ask supervisors to rate their team members on a scale of 1 to 4. So you see that scale here: excellent, good, satisfactory, needs improvement, with definitions of what that means. Again, going back to making sure that it is easy to use, inclusive, thorough, etc. And so again, this was based on the knowledge, skills, and abilities that we know that customer service agents require. And so that's where these came from. And again, this is what we call a graphic rating scale and would be used as part of the performance management tool. And then finally, we saw Victoria's timeline. So this is really the second piece, phase 2, what that looks like. We've broken it down by line item of what each of those would include. But we expect, with your cooperation, that this time would take the development of the performance management tool would take about 6 weeks. That really gives us the time to develop that criteria I was talking about, host stakeholder feedback meetings with your team, finalize those graphic rating scales, and then deliver that performance management tool to you. So with that, now that I've covered performance management tool, I'm going to hand it over to Kenny to cover phase 3, which is the fun part where we get to implement a lot of what Victoria and I have been talking about.
Thank you, Lindsay. I will be discussing phase 3, the implementation of the performance management system. So following the creation of our performance management tool that my teammates have previously discussed, we are going to integrate this into a larger state-of-the-science performance management system. This system will be comprised of 4 different focuses. Those focuses are performance appraisals, performance conversations, goal setting, and training for raters. So regarding performance appraisals, the primary purpose of performance appraisals is to provide feedback to employees about their performance, set goals for future performance, and identify areas for improvement. For performance conversations, we recommend that supervisors conduct bi-weekly check-ins with average to high-performing team members and weekly check-ins with new hires and underperforming employees to gather specific information on their performance and offer feedback on areas for growth and improvement. Regarding goal setting, we think to have effective goal setting at StyleBox, we expect employees to utilize the 3 dimensions of direction, effort, and persistence in the check-ins to express any goals regarding enhancing their performance or learning a new skill. For the training for raters, for the performance management system to be successful, we want our raters to have a common understanding of the performance dimensions being assessed, and to achieve this, we will implement frame of reference, FOR training. So on our next slide, we have an example of the frame of reference training that we would recommend StyleBox to implement to the raters that would help us achieve the goals and objectives that we are aiming for. We really want to push for the common frame of reference and the thorough understanding of all of our performance dimensions. And here's an example of our frame of reference training. And on our next slide, we have the timeline regarding the implementation. And with StyleBox's cooperation, we expect the development of the Performance Management 360-degree feedback tool to take about 6 weeks. This will provide adequate time to develop criterion, host stakeholder feedback meetings, and finalize the graphic rating scales and help deliver the performance management tool. Spark Consulting is what you need to ignite your performance management process and create better performance to drive employee and business success. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what we had to say.